Munson and the Geeza. Munson and the Geeza. Reporting from the scene. Munson and the Geeza. News in every right.
Yeah, I saw this.
Good evening.
We're here. We're here.
Yes, so there are. Oh, hi. Yes, hello. Look, Freedom is first. Freedom first. Yay. Well done,
Freedom first and last and last. But I'll tell you what. Speaking of freedom, no, but seriously, I was going to say I saw a what you call it a meme on your I think it was your Facebook, one of your 13 or 14 Facebook pages that you have.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny. It was what was it?
Is this going to be like a silent movie where you're going to play along with mood music in the background?
I think we're Stallone now, or I think I'm Stallone now.
Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it, Tiffany? I think I'm Stallone now.
You know that? Look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. 'Cause what would they say if they ever knew? And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away
into the night.
You put your
arm around me and
to the ground, and you say,
I think I'm Stallone now.
Doesn't seem to be anyone around. Yeah,
Sylvester Stallone now. Beautiful, Tony.
Yeah.
Cracking entry.
Well, what a song! What a hit! One hit wonder. I remember
Sounds
for
like
some.
10K runs. Is that going to be on your playlist for your marathon soundtrack?
I tell you, a really
a
horrible thing is this is because I wouldn't think like this now, but I remember when I was a teenager how judgmental I was. I really liked Tiffany.
Yeah.
She came out with that song, and I thought, oh yeah, I really like her. And then I found out she had one leg shorter than the other, and I was like, oh, couldn't have that. What? I wouldn't think like that. Yeah, she had one leg shorter than the other. Because
is this noticeable?
Well, I think she had one leg that was like quite a lot shorter than the other. I don't know why that bothered me. I mean, now, you know, she could have no legs.
Teeny Tony.
Teeny Tony, yeah. Hey,
Teddy. This guy. Oh, no, let's not take it back to the shower scenes of last week.
I still haven't put that video out. How does everyone know?
Can we, Freedom, please, can we go with teenage Tony rather than teeny Tony? That's just too distracting, quite frankly. Right. I before we get loads of comments, I'll disagree with everything. It's just a face. Well, Tony clearly hasn't grown out of that. Anyway, we do have a kind of pre-broadcast production meeting to consider what we are going to talk about, and it usually is in the 60 seconds before we go on air.
And we've spoken about everything. Yes. We've spoken about everything, so there's nothing left to say. That's Tiffany rendition. That was it. That's all I could come up with. We're done.
That's kind of like that's a really great sort of philosophical statement, isn't it? Everything's been done.
Everything has been done,
except to play your version of I think We're Alone Now, and that's it. Finished.
It's quite difficult to keep thinking of new things, but that's why I keep trolling. I was going to say trolling. That's why I keep trolling your Facebook page. I did the other day when I saw you meditating, and I felt really bad, but I couldn't help it. It was like a still for some reason.
I wasn't meditating. Oh, see, I was myth busting today. If you actually listened and watched some of my videos, you would see that I am not meditating in that sense. But you know, just like me, you only watched the first 5 seconds, or not at all.
Well, I didn't. I watched literally a split second because you were frozen. But in that particular where you saw the one I caught was, and I thought, God,
I want to share everybody that because it's deeply disrespectful.
It's deeply. I thought it took me seconds to actually make the decision to post.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
I thought you said it took you seconds.
I can't. You know, the fact that I obviously went into Photoshop and went to the effort of sticking your head on someone. I can't.
Well,
I can't.
I don't think you took a lot longer than seconds to
Yeah. I mean, I mean, at the same time, I can't exactly argue that it was a split-second decision. Yeah, I spoke to my lawyers,
and they were fine with it, were they?
They were fine. Yeah, they don't even know who I am.
You need a new law firm. Honest, that's bad advice. I fail to see the funny side of this. There I am at midday most days, trying to help people with their mental health.
But you could also be helping people with their movements.
I'm also going to get a call. I'm going to get a call from Banthia Hospital, which was clearly the easiest one you could Google and find that you thought my head would fit on. And there's me, either passing wind in a very uncomfortable way, or
what have you been eating?
A massive tadpole, a flaming tadpole. I mean, have you ever had flaming tadpole? I think it's did I have that? I think it's in Morocco. Very uncomfortable. Then really delicious, but it leaves a very difficult residue for the body to deal with. Anyway,
hey, is anyone here?
Did you manage to get Greg Wallace? Is what I want to know. Did you book Greg Wallace for tonight?
Did I book Greg Wallace? My goodness, what is going on?
How do you feel about the Greg Wallace? The three things I want to ask you about. The title of this week's live stream event.
How come my video isn't playing? By the way, oh no, it is. Sorry, hang on. There's got to be an echo.
It's all about you, isn't it?
No, it just says it's waiting. Why is it waiting?
I think I've downgraded my copy of StreamYard.
You've downgraded me. So maybe I can.
Not you. No, you are. You are being seen elsewhere. I can see the links are coming through to show that one, if not maybe both. No, could someone please just so we
are we live? I don't think we're live.
We are live. For goodness' sake.
I'm not live. I'm not live. Mine says waiting.
Well, how is it that Freedom is commenting on your channel then?
Freedom, can you see me? Am I live?
Just so that Tony's ego can just get past into the first 10 minutes of this show, can we please?
No, I need the money.
Tony is live. Tony's live, okay? You're going to get your 30 pence.
I'm live on YouTube or Facebook.
Yes, and you're going to get your 25, 30 pence, depending on how well
this goes. Why can't I see it? I don't understand why I can't see it.
Oh, we've been so horribly distracted already. This is terrible. Yes, you are both live, says Hugh. And in case you wanted to see a picture of Hugh, this is Hugh, everybody. Look at it. With his Akirem, is it Arabic? The Akirema Niaga hat on there. Very good. Very nice hat. Okay. And three topics I would like to shoehorn in. I've only got 50 minutes left now after all that kerfuffle and your concerns about whether you're streaming or not. And yes, just look, two people have said it now. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. Are you happy now?
Thank you.
Okay.
No, but you know.
I don't mean in the general sense. I mean with this particular issue.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I guess I'm satisfied.
Satisfied. Okay. Happy is pushing it.
What about that? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Three things. The new Jaguar, I think, is amazing. Prepping. Are you prepping? Who's prepping? There's a name of the show of the live stream tonight. And then Greg Wallace comes in like out T-bones us from left field or far right field, I suppose he would be lumped into, wouldn't he, at the moment? And we may want to talk about that. We may not, because Doug found something I wrote 6 years ago, #MeToo, and was saying, oh, these lesbians are just causing trouble or whatever.
Oh, they do though, don't they? They do though.
Very, very unforgiving and silly, basically. And I don't know if Doug was just trying to stir, because he does have that capability to stir. But I don't know if these were his genuine feelings or if he was just stirring the pot a little bit with that. So maybe we can close with prepping, because I think it's a really important subject. You and I were talking this week, weren't we, about the possibility of doing a prepping club or separate site, because I think there are more people prep than you would imagine. And
yeah, I do think it's something worth talking about, and I just like to say for myself, and this is also because I was having a think about what the title is, and this is kind of a serious. I've got no idea how many people are with us at the moment, but you know, Anyway, what I wanted to say
Focus.
is I consider myself to be what I would call a low key prepper, right? And I was thinking that perhaps just brainstorming could be the name for this group. And I do, low key prep or low key prepping or low key preppers, something like that. And what I wanted to say to everyone was, it's something that there is a little bit of a stigma attached to it somehow. But the fact of the matter is, almost everyone I speak to, and I along with being flat earthers and anti-vaxxers, are also doing a bit of prep. I'm just joking. I speak to some completely normal people as well, who are like, what I'm talking about by low key prepping, guys. Just to give you an example, can I show just something that I've prepared?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
so
God, what is this? Tinfoil hat.
Yeah, this is a tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
And
well, I saw John McAfee's Faraday cage. I mean, that's really going. I mean, that's not.
Well, that's not low key.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm talking about, guys, is things that we can do that to me are common sense. Because let me show you this. This is my wind up.
Is this your kit? Is this your kit that you're sharing with us now?
Yeah, I'm not going to share all of it. Listen, never share all your prepping kit. Listen,
well, that's behind the paywall. That's behind the paywall.
Behind the paywall. Listen, I tell you guys right now. I know people say this. We are going to put it behind a paywall, but it's going to be really, really affordable, and that's honestly just because we want the serious people inside. But the thing about prepping is you have to be careful, because something goes wrong. They all flood out of the city, and they're all knocking on your door, aren't they, for some peanut butter? Not that I have any stocks of peanut butter. Okay, did I say that out loud?
You let that slip, didn't you? But not only, but also.
This, for example, is my wind up.
You see, when I see things like that, I'm thinking, like, I don't think I want to live in the apocalypse. Like, kill me now. Is that what I'm going to have to do to get any light? Just like.
No. But listen to me. What I'm telling you is the main point of low key prepping is
How
to get
that for a name. Get to the point, prepper.
Get to the point, prepper. Is to get through. Freedom, you don't understand. In my head, I've got like 100 tangents going off at once. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Okay?
Imagine a browser. Imagine a browser.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got like 100 tabs open.
And
right?
the music.
Like somehow this is going to South Korea in a minute. Believe me. Yeah. But
well, that'll be over for your peanut butter in a minute.
But yeah, what this kind of thing does is it gets you through the first week. Yeah.
Right.
So what it is let's say you have the zombie apocalypse or the aliens come or whatever, you know. Remember COVID? What happened is everyone panicked, didn't they? Everyone was at Lidl, toilet paper, whatever. You know what I mean? What you need to do is you need to be able to get through the first week. My attitude is if you can't get through the first week and you're not a hardcore prepper, like you don't have a bunker and, 5 years worth of supplies, if you're not going to be able to get through the first week, you're not going to be able to get through it all. So what I'm talking about is be a low-key prepper. Make sure you've got enough for, like, say, a week or 2 weeks, which is when everything will calm down. All the Darwin Awards will be issued early, and then there'll kind of be like there'll be like a kind of
there won't be any telly, will there? It won't be on cable, will it?
Yeah, because you know what I mean. All the people who are going to fight each other for the last scraps of food in the cities and all that sort of stuff. Let that nonsense happen.
Yes.
Stay home.
Yeah.
There's not going to be electricity, so you're going to have to. This type of thing.
Grim, this. I don't know.
The radio. I'm not that interested in the radio. The fact that I can wind for power, and you want to have redundancies as well. So you want to have a generator. You want to have a battery and a generator, and maybe a solar panel as well. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to spend loads of money. So this is a really good entry level product to get yourself a bit of power for your torch and things like that. You've got your USB on it, and it's easy to work. It's a nice.
And will we be broadcasting on AM? I mean, what are the frequencies on that radio in your hand there? Because we need to keep going with the show, don't we?
It's AM, FM. Well, funnily enough, it just occurred to me.
It's very cheap now.
It just occurred to me the other day that I was saying to someone how now that I have like YouTube Premium or whatever, that
going up in the world.
I mean, I've had it for quite a while, to be honest, and I kind of like finally got rid of all my CDs and everything like that, and then I just realized the other day that when the SHTF happens, I literally will have no music. I don't have any records or CDs.
Bloody ukulele there, mate.
I can make my own music, obviously, but you know what I mean. It just seems like if I'm just in the mood to listen to like Pink Floyd, The Wall, or something, I won't be able to do it. So yeah,
some might say that's a godsend. One of the silver linings.
One of the silver linings, yeah. One of the silver linings. While you're glowing green in the dark, there'll be a silver lining. So yeah,
comfortably numb in the apocalypse.
Comfortably numb as my teeth fall out from nuclear fallout or whatever.
It's not funny. It's not funny, but I like how you're bringing light to an awkward situation.
Well, I've been thinking about this for a while, but what I'm talking about is this, guys. I'm talking about this low key prepping, you know. So yeah, a Swiss Army knife is important.
We need him. I've made a note of that.
I've got a Leatherman. Do you know what that is? Cut the end. A Leatherman. Not a leather man.
Tell him Teeny Tony is busy at the moment. Is that his name on the forums, Tony? Leatherman.
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 So, you know, a Leatherman is like the Canadian Swiss Army knife.
I know what it is, really. I couldn't resist.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, not a man wearing leather. Although, you know, he might come in handy as well. Who knows?
Exactly.
It might be cold. If it's cold,
he sounds prepped in his own way, doesn't he? If he's clad in leather. Are you going to be able to close those 100 tabs? They'll be closed for you on your behalf, aren't they? When something happens, or will it be browse and not responding?
When something happens, something will happen. Something will happen. And listen, everybody saw what happened during COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tyranny, your freedoms were taken away, and nobody did anything, did they? Everyone saw, well, the government trying to do this. And what happened was everyone sat at home.
What would it have looked like if, I mean, that's an interesting point, but people who did things didn't do things in reaction and in public. A lot of people did a lot of things, which were subversive, weren't they?
Yeah.
And underground. Many people, I think, did a lot to adjust their lifestyle out of the public gaze, which arguably is quite sensible, isn't it? Rather than
Oh, we travelled all over. We travelled all over the UK, then we travelled all over Portugal.
Yeah. So
during what you call it? What's that thing called? You know?
Yeah. We did the thing we dare not. I don't know if we can mention it or not. Basal, we've got a complaint, I think. Come on, guys. What's today's subject? It is prepping. Who's prepping? Are you prepping? Basal, 2025. Good to see you.
But what I was
going to say, look at your name without remember. I can't even remember the autocorrect. I just remember giggling a lot, and it just has Ballbag 2025. I don't think so. There's no autocorrect suggestion for Ballbag, is there?
But that's what came. I don't think it was an autocorrect. I think someone just said it, and you kind of linked them together.
Rude. That is so rude. I'm sorry. I'm laughing like a child.
I'm reporting. What you said. I'm not rude. My goodness. I'm the opposite. Everybody knows that.
You're the misunderstood Greg Wallace, aren't you? Of the Munson.
Misunderstood Greg Wallace. Why is this happening?
We're getting to it. We're still prepping. It's true, Freedom. You see, he's on our side. Giggling a lot.
Listen. Everyone. Everyone forgets really quickly. It was a few years ago, and we were all locked up.
Which one is this?
But South Korea. Look at South Korea today.
What's going on? We need to go live. Have we got any live coverage? Have we got live coverage of what's going on in?
I tell you what, I've got the full text of the
insurrection.
South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol's emergency martial law declaration. So what I want you guys to think about, South Korea, it's everybody knows it to be a functioning first world democracy, and then boom, just like that today, martial law. Boom.
I never got that feeling. You
didn't get that feeling?
A technocracy, but not a full functioning.
So the National Assembly has so far proposed 22 motions to impeach government officials since the inauguration of the administration and since the launch of the 22nd. Let me just go through this situation that is unprecedented, not only in any country in the world, but also since the founding of our nation. So anyway, he's just come up with a bunch of excuses. They've imposed.
Well, martial law has
martial law, has it?
Yes,
All right.
So I don't know what to believe on X.
Well,
but...
the army was in Seoul earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm declaring a state of emergency martial law to protect the Free Republic of Korea from the threats of the North Korean Communist forces, to eradicate the shameless pro-North anti-state forces that plunder the freedom and happiness of our people. Anyway, the point is, what I want to say to everyone is, let's forget about tinfoil hats and everything like that. What I need to tell you guys, and we should know this by now, freedom is an illusion. It's an illusion. We're given degrees. We're given a degree of freedom by our masters. You know, and that we're able to kind of move around within limits. And at any moment that can be taken away, and you need to have, you know,
be ready.
You need to have a plan for when that happens, because you know, what if you can't get fresh water? What if you can't get food? What if you've got no electricity? You need to have a solution. And I'm not talking about going over the top and having a tunnel under your house and a bunker and all that. Although, you know, that would be great. If I had the money, I'd probably do it.
Think so. Would you really?
Yeah, if I had the money, I'd do it. Yeah,
now, I think this might be a marked difference between you and I, or where our I like to think our Venn diagrams overlap, Tony. Sometimes the overlap is quite big, sometimes it's quite small, and we can let others be.
Kamala Harris, she liked
an overlapping Venn diagram.
She liked an overlapping Venn diagram. Yeah.
Right. Is that a cocktail? Maybe. Anyway. Okay. So
who won that election anyway, Munson?
I believe Donald Trump won the
US. Look at that. 23 minutes in.
Oh, very good. Okay. I think the preparation should be largely mental. And I don't mean that as, you know, in street slang, mental, like Ricky Gervais, mental. Yeah.
Mental. I got 100 bags of toilet rolls. Yeah, get in. It's mental.
I don't mean like that. I mean mental, spiritual, emotional preparation is very important, because it's like all the great prepping moves are going to be good if you do them anyway and nothing happens. The ones that really hurt and are miserable are the worst, aren't they? Especially if nothing does happen and you don't need them. Whereas if you prepare yourself, so you've got a sense of contentment and a few, you know, a bit of a stock of things to see yourself through a power cut, bit of food, bit of power, or alternative power. That seems like pretty good for your mental health. But it's this fine balance of not going to the dark side.
Daddy, I'm hungry. Here's some contentment, son. Here's some contentment. I've just
You just thrust your what do you call it? A big fallacy on me, didn't you? I think. What do you call that? You've got that. That was a classic move that you accuse others of doing, isn't it? A false phallus, was it? What is it?
A false phallus, yeah.
You presented your false phallus to me in that moment, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It was done with comedic effect and expectation, I think. So you're quite forgiven. But I'm not saying only do that, because most of us aren't yogis or gurus, aren't we? Who will sit through it and think this is merely the material plane is merely an illusion into which I choose to be or not. The apocalypse bothers me not. No, most of us aren't in that position. But at the same time, many of us do very little to prepare ourselves mentally. Hence the state we're in the world at the moment. I would say.
So there's a lot of dependency. So what I think is as well, and further to your point that doing a bit of prepping can have other benefits, and where I think it's good for the soul is you are kind of taking back a little bit of your what's the word? Your sovereignty, your independence, your choice. You know what I mean? Even if you never use it, you're saying, look, I'm not dependent on the and there's, you know, when I say there's low key prepping and then there's hardcore prepping, you know, there's all the degrees in between. So I think about like even things like, you know, building some things, you know, just simple things like knowing how to build simple structures, knowing how to camp. Even though I'm a vegan, I would say that if like I wouldn't die for my veganism. Do you know what I mean? Like if I had to eat,
Yeah.
I would catch a fish and eat it. Do you know what I mean? If it came
Yes.
to it.
Yeah. Of course.
And I know how to do things like that. And there's ways. Again, this is something we could talk about when we make the club. But I could show people how to catch fish in a more
humane way.
It's not really about a humane way, but in a more kind of guaranteed way.
Really? Well, I'd love to know about that.
Yeah,
and you make a video of it, and that video. You see, my fear about this paywalled preppers club is that a lot of preppers are pretty tight, aren't they? It goes with the territory. So we'd either be not attracting people who'd want to be part of it, or they just want a freebie to get in. Or you'd have people who are like armchair preppers who'd want to know all the detail. I mean, that's the honest truth.
Well, there's a lot of armchair preppers, and I mean that's fine. But I mean, one thing that does get spoken about in the prepping community a little bit is, and I do actually remember speaking briefly, funnily enough, with Katia Lima on the Good Morning Portugal show, because she I don't know why it surprised me, but she kind of has a bit of knowledge about the topic. And I remember her saying about, it is a problem. The fact is that if things do go pear-shaped, it's quite likely that people will, because if you're a city dweller, one of the first things any prepper will tell you to do if the proverbial is about to hit the fan is get out of the city. Yeah. Get out of the city, right? And it's I don't think I have to explain to anyone why that's important. But get out of the city.
It's often, it's also worth saying it's too late at that point. If you're a serious prepper, you might be thinking about getting out of the city a little bit before the moment that you have to get out of the city, right?
Well, there are things that we could speak about because there are techniques to get out of the city as well that we could speak about.
So you do have a lot more of this tactical knowledge than I have.
Yeah.
I think I would be probably much of my input will be along these sorts of lines.
Yeah. For example, packing your car and trying to get out in your car is not the way, just as an example. Okay.
Yes.
So there's
do we call it the Michael Douglas? Is that the way to get out of the city?
there's tactical, there's ideas and ways to get out of cities.
These would be cracking videos, Tony. You've probably made them already, to be fair. Stop looking at the news. Is Carpe Diem's prep. It's not your personal agenda, I think, rather than your agenda. And I agree with you on this, Carpe Diem. Prepping as a thought exercise only, that's as far as I go. And I think you've probably got skills if you need them, Carpe Diem. But you are seizing the day, as it suggests there, rather than worrying too much about tomorrow.
One problem is, and when I say this, it might refresh your memory, me and Katia speaking about this, because we were talking about the problem of what to do when people start knocking on your door asking for food. And Katia was very much of the attitude, well, you can't say no if someone's asking for food, give them your food.
Yes. Yeah. Was this in an emergency, or was this as a courtesy?
I can't remember how it came up. But we were talking about prepping. And I was saying, like for me, because this is a conversation that's often had in the prepping community, is what you got to understand is that if you give away food, you're probably going to die. That's probably going to cause you and your family to die.
We're not starting a community like that, are we? What are these communities you speak of? Are you in a few of them then?
Well, look, I'm a low-key prepper.
Yeah, but so you know what I mean. You keep on some of the hardcore.
Yeah. But I've seen these debates, and I've watched a lot of apocalypse movies, and what happens? It's the kind of thing, they'll send someone to your door, like a mother holding a baby, and I'd be like, oh,
you have seen TNT movies.
Please, we're starving. Can't you just spare us a tin?
Stop watching Hollywood as well as.
Can't you just spare us a tin of beans? And then you open the door and like 3 bikers rush in with crowbars and just take everything.
Which film was that?
I don't know, but it's a good script, isn't it? We can do it.
It is a good script, and it appeals to the worst of us all, doesn't it? It works to our fears.
Hey! You want to see the worst of people? Wait till they've got no food.
January sales. Yeah,
they've got no food.
No, I understand that. and
Yeah.
it's worth thinking about. And that's what I'm talking about. The balance is really important, isn't it? And you know, I belong to a Facebook group. What are they called? They're not preppers or doomsdayers. Collapse Club. I don't know if you've seen that. There's the collapse philosophy that is preparing for an imminent collapse, and they've been doing it for quite a long time. And that's the problem with so many of these groups, isn't it? They might die before, you know, they might have their own personal collapse before they ever experience a societal one. And that does, you know, sort of connect with our death urge and our fears of death and so on, doesn't it? This apocalyptic idea and what we might do about it. And I think it's really important to get the you are a biker, Freedom's saying. You'd be one of them. One of the 3 wise bikers.
That's all I know.
I see. You a different level of preparation for Teeny Tony then. But you haven't got that embroidered on the back of your bike jacket. Anyway. Balance is so important, isn't it? And this is a rabbit hole. And if we were to do something, I would like it to remain light and practical.
Yes.
And not be too much on the dark side, so that, you know, we go on living our lives joyously and we approach it with that mind.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm talking about is being just basically what I'm talking about is, if things go sideways, it could be anything. It could be another pandemic. Could be anything. It's just not having to go out for the first week.
Okay, that's your first.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. So, have you got food? Have you got water? Have you got fuel for a week?
Well, actually, you mentioned the pandemic. That was. I think our response was like that in the first week of lockdown.
Just stay home. You don't know. Everything's going a bit Pete Tong out there, isn't it? Everything's going a bit Pete Tong.
Yes.
Mental. And you don't know how people are going to behave. I mean, we saw it. We flew into London right a week into the first lockdown. We flew.
Did you? I was spared all of that. Tell us about that? What was that like?
I tell you, it was an experience, because Hong Kong didn't have a lockdown per se, so it was great. We got on one of the last flights out of Hong Kong, and we were on a cafe. So paid about double the normal fee, by the way. And I think with 3 or 4 days later, you know, flights worldwide were grounded, and we were on this 747. I'll never forget it. There was me, my wife, and my 2 boys, and then just maybe a handful of other passengers. I mean, it felt like a movie. And there was more cabin crew. And then there were passengers. Do you know what I mean? And
trying to get out of the country.
Yeah, everyone bailing because because everyone knew, and it was correct. You want to be where you want to be, or you could get stuck, and many people got stuck. Many people got stuck and separated for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, my friend was separated from his wife for I think 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you had to think, right, where do we want to be? Let's go. So we had like a family. It was like a family meeting. We said, right, we've got to get out of here, because it was costing us like our business, everything. It was chaotic. Carl, if anyone wants to have a look at my channel, I did do a video about all the details, but basically it was like, I could see, right, if we sit here in Hong Kong and we get stuck, we're actually going to run out of money in about 4 or 5 months.
And become dependent.
We need to make the decision now. We knew that
well, good on you, well done.
Fate was pushing us. We wanted to be in the EU because there was Brexit, loads of things. It was like a tesseract, you know what I mean? It was really a tesseract of things.
Yes.
And
Freedom is trolling you quite heavily tonight, isn't he?
He is. I love it.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Bring
it on. Freedom. Exercise your freedom. So we landed in Heathrow, and I think I've mentioned before, actually, our destination was actually Finland, funnily enough, because we've lived in Scandinavia before, but Finland, the border was shut, so we had to go to England. And I'll never forget getting off the plane at Heathrow, man. And oh my God, I really dig liminal spaces and all that kind of vibe. But walking into Heathrow, and there was just nobody, you know. And it was like, even the ATMs didn't have cash in them. And then there was just this one woman on the customs, and there was just us. I don't even know where the other people from the plane went, you know. It was like, you ever seen like Stephen King's The Langoliers or something like that, the empty airport? It was just so surreal.
I had the same experience in Orient Station. I had to take a hire car back because I had a hire car when the lockdown was starting, and I was really resentful. I wanted the company to send somebody to get it because I didn't want to be stopped on my way driving it back and then to get public transport back. I thought they should just do that, and I soured a really good relationship with the hire company or at that time. But I guess a lot of people were freaking out and losing their proverbial. But I took it back eventually, and I was getting a train back from Orient Station, and that concourse, that building, was, I think, like you're talking about. You know, there was just rubbish blowing about. The only people around were like people who probably lived there. The people who live there are generally outnumbered, aren't they, on a daily basis by commuters? Yeah. And when everybody withdraws from using it as a functional space, the dysfunctional use of that building becomes apparent. And presumably the airport had a similar atmosphere to it.
Yeah, that's what it was like. There was nothing open, and I remember it was really weird. It was like we got to the counter, and there was this. I don't know why it's important to say this, but I just want to tell you, and people can do with it what they will. But there was this woman who was I don't know where she was from, but she was the one in the uniform at the customs. But you know, if she was British, which she may well have been, she definitely wasn't born there. And she kind of was giving my wife the third degree about, oh, do you know that you can't overstay your visa, and what are your plans here? And I'm like, are you serious right now? Do you know what I mean? Let's go. And we just pushed through. It's like, what is going on? It's like the end of the world, and this idiot's bothering me about, you know, my wife's visa.
Just doing their job. Yes.
No. Just being an absolute Karen. Like, like imagine getting to the end of the universe and there's a Karen there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't even like using that word Karen, to be honest. Yes. I don't like it.
But it's perfect in that instance. Yes.
But anyway, and then we got out of there, and I called an Uber, and by some weird twist of fate, the only Airbnb I found was in Mayfair, and it was right next to Harrods.
Fantastic.
And, so we caught this Uber. The Uber came, you know, and we went into
down the M4 into central London, the Great Western Road or whatever.
There's just no people except the occasional kind of mentally ill person just standing in the street howling and all that. Yeah. And then we got there, and it's like we're going past Harrods, and but it was amazing. We got, so we're right there. And you know, normally it's just absolutely heaving with people, especially during the day. Yeah. And then the other funny thing, guys, was, for some reason, the weather was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, it was, what was it, April? And it was like just sunny and warm every day. Got a little bit colder at night, but there was no rain. And
they probably stopped spraying for a little while, didn't they?
So yeah. So I said I showed my family around London. It was amazing. We went out and we went and looked at like Big Ben, and we went and looked at, you know, Tower Bridge, you know, all the places. We went and looked at Buckingham Palace. There's no people. There's just nobody there. Hyde Park, you name it, all the things. And I remember one of the funniest things that was so surreal in it was, what's that tower? I can't remember the name of the tower. You know, the tower that's got the
Shard. The Shard?
Not the Shard, the one that's got this, it's round, and they put the text on it that goes around.
Oh, the GPO tower, the old.
Yeah. Right, and I've seen that in a few horror movies, like what was the zombie one? 28 days later.
Was the text on it saying "Go home,
go home, COVID-19, wear masks, keep distance, and all that." Yeah. And it was like, wow, look at this because we were walking. I remember I took them down to show them like Savile Row and stuff like that, you know, and because you got to walk down those little back streets, you know what I mean? And I was thinking, any minute now that a zombie's going to come around the corner. It's just would have been perfect. Someone could have dressed up as a zombie, and I would have run. You know what I mean?
That was a missed opportunity for you for your YouTube channel, wasn't it? To get the family all dressed up as zombies.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was between YouTube channels at the time, so I didn't even really think about it.
I hate it when that happens.
I didn't even really think about it, and I should have. It's a shame it wasn't better documented those times, because the things I saw were amazing. Like some people, the behavior, like when they said to us, right, you can have an hour out.
Yes.
I mean, we were taking a lot more than that anyway, but you know, they said you can have an hour out, you know what I mean? And I noticed straight away, it's like, Isn't it funny what businesses are really benefiting from this? I noticed that really straight away. It was like Argos, Amazon, must have been just loving it. But anyway, I remember like a couple of supermarkets, around in Mayfair, they kind of took it in shifts. Do you know what I mean? To open but I remember some people were like, you'd go near them, and they. I remember this one guy like falling on the floor. It's like, get away from me, get away from me, and I thought, oh my God, what's going on? And that's when I realized. I thought it's dangerous. It's dangerous because people are freaking out.
Yes.
Psychosis. Freaking out. Yes.
Right, we've got a production note that's just come in. T-Duck has joined us and was wondering if the Round Tower was called the Round Tower. It's an educated guess there. Thunderduck, Freedom is glad to see you. Good timing. He had to troll for 2 for a little while. So you're here to lighten Freedom's load. And some interesting comments, which I'll come back to. It's a really good question, that, Freedom, in just let's troll this room. Come on then, as Tony was saying, give it your best or your worst. Tony needs to stay in front of the mic. His volume is going up and down as he fidgets. You, on the other hand, sound great. Well, thank you very much. Executive production from T-Duck there. Now, is that your shtick there, Tony, to draw the crowd towards you? How, if you want to have someone closer to you, you whisper in a conversation if you're very confident and brave. And then they come.
Who's that? The BT Tower. That was it. The BT Tower. Yeah. Sorry.
It used to be the GPO, the post office tower, before the GPO became BT, of course.
Oh, look, there's a picture here that shows what it looked like. It's something save lives. Something save lives.
Go home, lockdowns. Yeah,
go home, save lives. Yeah, don't kill Granny.
On this prepping special, which it seems to be tonight, how would you prep then for the next lockdowns? Now, there's quite a lot in that simple sentence there. That is presupposing, and I suspect Freedom, who is being snogged by his dog in the picture there, has it down that we will be going into further lockdowns.
Of course,
would you agree with that? Will you agree? Do you agree with that? First of all,
of course they will. Of course they will. They know now they can switch the country on and off when they want, and so people won't do anything. Of course they will. Yeah.
Well, you said that before. They won't. The people will do something, won't they? The people. By you mean not doing anything? You mean as in a direct response to the government?
Well, I tell you the background to my thoughts on that, because I had some thoughts on it. There's been 2 times in my life that I've been a little bit surprised. One was 9/11. You remember when 9/11 happened? 9/11.
Yes,
right?
I do remember.
And I thought. You remember that, right?
I do. I was born. I know it's hard to believe.
The building.
I was born.
Well, I was sitting in my office, and I actually watched that on TV. And I remember when the second one hit, I was like, "Wow, that's definitely not an accident." And I phoned my friend. in the northeast in England. I said, "John, have you seen this?" And he said, "Yeah, I've seen it." And I've said, "Listen, you know that George Bush, he's going to do something stupid, and there's going to be bombs firing everywhere. What's our plan?" And he said, "Right, well, if it kicks off, get up here," because I was in the south. He said, "Get up here, and then we'll go up to Scotland. We had some pals up there, so we had a plan. Yeah, we had a plan for if World War III kicked off, and as
you thought that might be it.
Yeah, we thought.
I don't remember having those thoughts at all, actually.
Yeah, I had those thoughts, and then it didn't happen. Although he did go and invade.
In fact, I went to America. I think I went to America soon after. It seemed like a good time to go to America.
Yeah, because the exchange rate was good, wasn't it?
Just generally speaking, it's like no one else is going to want to go. People, Americans weren't leaving America, were they?
Wow, look at the hotel prices. Let's go.
Yes. My dad got some British Airways 50 quid flights or something to LA.
Jesus, listen to this
out of the newspaper. So we went.
There's a pattern here. I bet if you look at all of Carl's holidays in the last 20 years, they probably follow like he was in Fukushima a week after the tsunami.
It's like the terrorism Camino. You just
he bought a new submarine just after that one popped last year. You know
exactly.
He's
well, he would have done. And but he's like Rees-Mogg. You know that their family don't let a good disaster go to waste.
Don't let a good disaster go to waste. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So the second time was when COVID came
in front of the mic. I remember. We're still getting complaints.
Oh, sorry.
That's lovely.
And
No, not
I
that
watched.
close. Not that close.
I watched it. First of all, it was Italy. It was. I remember Italy imposing the lockdown. Well, of course, first of all, it was China, right? China had the hard lockdowns, but then the first European country was Italy, and then Spain said, right, if they'll do it, we'll do it, and on it went.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, they'll never get away with that in England. I said they try that in England.
We're not having it, are we?
We won't have that. We won't have that. And everybody just stopped home. And half the country went out and banged pots and pans every Thursday night, didn't they? At 7 o'clock.
They did. But what changed the game, I think, was what's that called? When they introduced something with a funny name because no one can quite understand it. Furlough.
See, no, of course, they gave them money.
Yeah, the weather was good.
They gave them $1,000 a month.
Yeah, the weather was good. You got paid to stay home, so no one was going to kick off about that, were they?
No,
they knew
loved it.
They knew the way to people's hearts, didn't they? I think. And
people didn't want. Many people didn't want the lockdowns to end.
Yeah, right. And so Jackie agrees. Climate lockdowns next. Clearly, you've not realised the world has a climate crisis somewhere. I think maybe possibly, but probably bloody not.
Well, you know,
you're in my head saying that.
I don't know if it's bird flu or.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The other side, you saying people won't do anything. I contend that people did a lot and changed their lives as a result, not in the face of or as a reaction directly to the government, but just in their own way, in their own world. They changed their own worlds.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have unplugged a bit, to be honest. Funnily enough, I was no, but you know who I was watching yesterday, and you know.
Oh dear. Sorry.
You know Louisa, right? Solo.
My wife. Which one are we talking about?
Solo over 50.
Oh, Louise. Yeah.
Louise. Sorry. Yeah. And she's fantastic. I really love her channel, and I love what she does. But she's
honest and authentic, isn't she?
But she's an example of someone who just went, right, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. And it's not like she hasn't gone like full hippie or nothing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or full prepper or anything, but she's gone, right, I'm not doing the 9 to 5 shtick. I'm just going to find a different way. I'm going to find my own path. Yeah. And I'm going to reclaim my sovereignty, as you said. I'm going to reclaim and take responsibility for me.
Yeah.
And not only that, what I love about her is she shares it.
Yes.
A lot of people would be doing that and not share it, you know what I mean? Because they think, I want to keep this thing for me.
Here you go, Tony. Here you go. This might be another angle on our prepper podcast. Now, I think it's worth prepping, not necessarily for the classic apocalyptic scenario, but for how the world is going to be changing is changing dramatically at the moment. You've got to face that in some way, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because everybody is prepping. That's the other thing I'd like to add. Anyone who prays, everyone is prepping in some way, even if they're not kind of obviously prepping. They are continuing to choose to live their lives in a certain way, expecting a certain kind of future. That's what we all do. And it would appear the intelligent thing to do at the moment is to, well, actually, this can be shorthanded. I don't know who said it, but it was like prepare for. Who was it who said this the other day? I think it was Charles Eisenstein. Prepare for the unimaginable.
Yeah.
How do you do that? That to me is a fascinating proposition.
Yeah,
because I don't think what's coming we won't know it, will we? We won't know what it is. We'll have a sense of what it is.
I suppose as well, a part of prepping is in that sense preparing for the unknowable, because obviously some unknown thing might happen that could make my camping stove completely redundant, let's say.
Yes.
So this is part of my prep, and who knows, but what I was thinking about this morning, I made a video this morning. I was just trying to do a live stream while I was walking this morning, and a woman came barreling around the corner. She'd come up the valley in her car, and it was 7:30 in the morning or something. She came like screeching around the corner, and off she drove into Ollie. And I said, this is why I'm not doing this anymore, because I said, look at this woman. She's so desperate to get into town to help someone else get rich. And this is her daily routine, you know, because I see that car every day. I see it every day.
Can
I just grimace, the grimace, I'm in such a hurry to get into town for my 9 to 5.
She symbolizes the struggle of life,
but
right?
what I'm saying, obviously I don't know her, and I'm like extrapolating a lot from this small interaction. But what she hasn't got, or what a lot of people who are in the kind of cubicle rat race haven't got, is like, it's a kind of a nimble, a kind of the ability to change lanes, lanes quickly. She can't change lanes quickly because she's completely locked into the system. So any disruption to the system is going to cause a lot of chaos in her life. Whereas I could go live in Austria, you know what I mean?
No, I understand that. And a few of us have adjusted, have we not? Jackie's wanting to do that. I think a few people here are of that mindset. They've already made some decisions that are a little bit more bulletproof or sustainable or resilient. Let's call it resilience. So they're ahead of the resilience curve. What's very interesting to me about what you're saying there, and projecting onto that woman, using her as a symbol of the system and its continuation, is that's what I think is one possible outcome here, is how the system is unsustainable. So as it starts to come undone, we will have to consider other ways of living, separate, individually, in a family situation and in communities. That to me is most certainly in the post. Big changes are coming. We don't know what they are exactly, but in any case, life changes for human beings. And so that's true. And I think that will continue to be true. Nothing's, we know things aren't going to stay the same because we don't know what the same is anymore. And I would also add that there's going to be an exponential, what's that, looking at the screen?
Well, I do think that things are coming to a head with that kind of side of the system, because, like, for example, everybody, it's almost a bit of a meme, in the 1950s, a miner could afford a house and a holiday every year and all this sort of stuff, right? But it's
a personal servant,
But it's, well, we called them wives, didn't we? But that was, but the thing is,
the Greg Wallace Award this evening
goes
to Tony Bryan. Well done.
But it's true though, isn't it? So what you've got now is you've got I saw a good meme today, which is someone said, I hate this. What was it? I hate driving to work every day, and then I hate this job, but I have to do it to pay for my car, And it was that, I think that's what's happening. I think people are going to start waking up to, I'm actually getting, I'm not going forward anymore. There's nothing. I'm not benefiting from this anymore. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'd rather have, and that's what I think sometimes. I think I'd rather have less money and more walking the dogs,
And I think, again, the pandemic brought that realization to people, because they had more time to consider that, didn't they? But I think, there are two things happening. I think more and more people having that sort of personal realization, and the system that they would hope to stick themselves to or be supported by is also coming undone. It's unsustainable. And it's interesting, the rhetoric of the government, isn't it? Things, we are being told by those political grown-ups, aren't we, that things can't go on the way they are. We are being briefed. We are being signaled to, aren't we? And that is what's going on at the moment. And on that basis, it is certainly a good idea to prep in some way, mentally, physically, and the whole spectrum of that. So I think there's quite a good case for having a community of people who are doing that and who are considering it. Less money, more dog walking describes my past years. And how has that been for you? That's one of the great questions in life, isn't it? Is how's that working out for you? I suspect you wouldn't have it any other way. There are things aspects of it you might like to improve, but generally speaking, Freedom, I get the sense that it's been a good move for you. I think the same is true of T-Duck. The same will be true of Jackie. She's working her way towards it. Those who are speaking of that tonight. So I think, prepping, everyone's prepping, aren't they? Is exactly what you're doing that's interesting, and we can continue to talk about that.
I can say this: I've never been rich. I've never been rich, but I have been well off.
Yeah.
What I can say is that in my limited experience of having money is you never have enough. You never have enough. You never have enough. You never have.
Well, that's
You
a
know what I
useful
mean?
prep, isn't it?
It just
Change that
goes
way of
on
change
and
that
on
idea.
and on and on. So just you get to a point like I have where it's just stop. I'm just done with that. I'm done. I just don't need any. And that's why I say that's one thing I love about Portugal is I don't need to have the latest best car. I don't need to have designer label clothes. I don't need to be eating out at the best restaurants or everything. Just stop it. Stop it. What's important? Health, fresh air, just looking at trees, whatever,
Clarity of purpose.
Yeah.
That's how I would put that.
So
we might have to launch a GoFundMe, though. I'm seeing here T-Duck, however, might have to lay off the shoe shiner and put the second driver. Do you think there's any way we can help with this? He says he'll get by. I think he's just putting a brave face on it, and he might need some help from us. So if there's anything we can do with that situation, T-Duck, you just let us know. Life is about doing things, not getting things, and there's a hell of a lot to do in Portugal. Absolutely right, and it remains a very good choice.
Life is about doing things, not getting things, and there's a hell of a lot to do in Portugal.
Is this Prepping the Musical?
A hell of a lot to do. It could be a musical.
Prepping the Musical.
Thunderduck, stage left. Life is about doing things, not getting things. And there's a hell of a lot to do in Portugal.
Tap dancing. It's a tap dance routine, isn't it?
Life is about. So what am I doing that to? I know what I'm doing it to. How do you solve a problem like Maria?
I'm liking Prepping the Musical. Andrew Lloyd Webber might want to collaborate with us on this.
Maybe.
Because I think he was one of those people that was fighting inheritance tax.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, me too.
10 hours a day. Stick it to the man, Tony. 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, running my tattoo studio as a charity. Yeah. Now it's time for me and chocolate. Very good.
That's time for me and me. Yeah, well, yeah. Don't put it past Portugal.
Okay, enough money to focus on dog projects, walk, enjoy life, give my dogs a yard. Almost there. Just the hunt for. It's interesting, isn't it, how dogs are so important in some people's lives as a kind of totem of a new way of life and being.
Yeah.
Just the hunt. It's the same with Louise, isn't it? Just the hunt for jobs or gigs is sometimes like they're non-existing. Well, that's another thing, isn't it? Maybe that's another reason why we need a community is to support each other. Maybe there's somebody in the wider prepper community or consciousness that would say, Freedom, what are your skills? Yeah, let's do a deal.
Well, there's some people have ideas as well,
Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah.
And they are a commodity, of course, aren't they? And we do have to stay alive, and that could be another aspect of it. So briefly then, I love the new Jag. Do you like the new Jag? Have you seen the pictures? Seen the video?
I wanted to like it because I want to be that guy who's not who's gotten past the awful advert. And I mean, I tried to be fair last week, but then I saw it, and no, I don't like it because I told you before I didn't like the E-Type either, and I think it looks like what would look like a cross between an E-Type and that stupid truck of Elon Musk as well. The Cybertruck.
E-Type. Okay,
it looks horrible.
I love it, and I was thinking to myself, this is lifting the car in some way. This is changing the frequency of car, which is something they might say in their advertising campaign, is something as sort of pretentious as that. But I think it really is. I think it's brave, and I don't really care either way. That's the other thing. I'm not invested in the way that a lot of people seem to be.
See, for me again, this is something I'm so over. Like, I am a bit of a car guy. I do kind of like cars, but I think if the future is going to go to these kind of electric cars, I'm more for like the whole car. Like if they're self-driving, then I think that in a way, especially in cities, they're better off getting to a point where people don't even own cars. Do you know what I mean? You just call them on an app.
That's the way it's going, isn't it? That's the way it's
going. Like those. I quite like that little Ami, that little Citroen Ami.
Do you?
Have you seen that one? Yeah, because for my. Don't you ever feel? I don't know what kind of car you drive, right? I've got a big estate, and I really feel sometimes when I'm driving that, especially by myself, I think and you know me, I'm not really a tree hugger or anything like that. But sometimes I do feel like I'm this is an awful lot of metal and leather and all the rest of it and plastic that I'm lugging around just for a little. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessary.
Yeah, I get it.
It's completely unnecessary, and I think most of the time that what I've noticed here in Central Portugal, every now and again, there's several days will go by where I don't even drive it. It's just not, I don't need to go anywhere in the car.
Isn't that great?
It is great, but why have there must be a way
we'll get there.
More sustainable of, for example, like maybe there's 5 people that could kind of share my car, you know what I mean? And,
but it will happen. It will happen. I mean, I think this is another great area that requires balance. And I can bring in T-Duck's comment here. It's important to truly understand what matters most in your life, then fight for it every day. I think that's true. And Freedom likes that. Stay focused, he adds, eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize.
Things that are important to you, definitely we can, fighting for it, I guess, is one way of putting it. But I would say, we move towards it, do we? We move towards what's important for us steadily. And when we become guilty or ashamed or embarrassed or pressured in that process, we're out of balance, I think. And that was, to me, the great, and I was all, you and me are both proper wokies, aren't we, from the past? And I felt really terrible about being a human being for a long time. And I thought it was okay to terrorize children in school about the environment. And I now think that's really unkind. I think children shouldn't be terrorized in school about what humans are doing to the planet. If we are doing terrible things to the planet, that's for the adults to figure out, and not to make children feel guilty about in school all day long. And for the individual not to be put upon by these imperatives, to do what you can. And if it's important to you, like T-Duck says, fight for it, make it happen. But we are here to be beacons of love and light and joy, if at all possible, without wanting to sound like
I think as well, what I'd be more interested in telling children is the truth. I would say, look, while if you want to save the planet, stop consuming all this crap that's coming from China, because the reality is the people who are telling us, right? Soapbox time. The people who are telling us, stop,
enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy it while it lasts, Hugh.
Stop using plastic straws and all this nonsense, are the same people who fly around in private jets, the same people who make money sending jobs off to China to have things built cheaply and unloaded onto us. I mean, the real polluters in the world. I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't believe the people who are telling me that I'm the problem. I don't believe them. Because I have a diesel car.
They're not. They don't even know you, do they? It's propaganda that you can choose to feel bad about or not.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. That's what I would rather tell children. I would say, look, maybe there is a problem with climate change. Maybe it's true, but what I want you to do is be careful about the people who are telling you that it's your problem, that it's your, you know what I mean, that it's your fault. And I mean,
or tell them this: it's important to truly understand what matters most in your life, then fight for it every day. If the planet is really important to a child, and children do have a great sense of nature, I think, and the symbol of Mother Earth and these sort of allegorical approach to the environment, children really get that. And why not support them in wanting to look after that and love it? That would be
yeah. Well, I did.
Terrible is awful.
I did see a good meme once that it's like, well, if we're wrong, if we do behave better to the planet and we're wrong, then what's the downside? Clean air, clean environment, more trees. What's the downside? There's no downside.
But being awful to people in the process, which is that's the thing, isn't it? It's the do-gooding, whether you like it or not. That's what's sticking in everybody's craw at the moment, it would seem.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing, and I have said this, I had this a little bit with some of my teenage students who one of them said something like, "Oh, your generation." Yeah. And I said, listen, my generation, when I was a kid, at supermarkets, we had paper bags, and we took string bags to the shops, and my mum wouldn't drive me anywhere. my mum wouldn't drive me anywhere if I could walk or ride my bike. I had to, she was like on us every minute about switching lights off and all that. And I said, it's not,
I think you're being misfingered there, as it were.
It's kind of like you guys are the consumers, not me. We bought, like, I remember when I grew up, we had a washing machine, like for the whole of my mother's life. She had the same wash. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same fridge. It moved house. All those appliances moved house with us. You know what I mean? It was like,
no, I
it's
get
not
it.
us. It's not us.
No, I think you're being seen as a baby boomer, aren't you? One of the worst sort of the worst culprits in this climate change.
Well, it wasn't their fault. But God, that's just what they offered.
But I want to pick up on generational rather than getting bogged down into any blame games.
Yeah, but I mean, well, one of the things that you get that you can. There are some things that were a problem, weren't there? I mean, like new wave feminism.
Well, this generational thing is what I'd like to finish on, maybe in the last 10 or 15 minutes here. In 2018, I wrote something that was #MeToo, and this must have been when the sort of Me Too thing was kicking off. There's always something, isn't there, going on that we think
there's always something.
This is the outrage of the moment, and of course, the current one seems to be the Greg Wallace movement, or against him, I suppose it is. But in 2018, I was surprised to have something I wrote dredged up by Hugh today, who said in response to it, if these people were seriously offended, and I think he's rolling the whole Me Too thing of 6 years ago in with what's going on with Greg Wallace at the moment, if they were seriously offended, seriously in capitals, they would have told him to do one immediately, not hang around in the shadows waiting for some Me Too lesbians to start crowing. A pathetic witch hunt. And my response to him, I wonder how he managed to find something I posted 6 years ago anyway. But I accused him of not reading the room. I do hear what he's saying. He just sounds like Greg Wallace and all the people who seem to be offended on Greg Wallace's behalf. But there's something really, no, not Meet Too. That's probably a movement that's coming soon. Me Too. What do you make of this then? What's happening? What's blowing up around Greg Wallace at the moment? And could you explain what it is to people who might not have heard of it, Portuguese, or in your words?
Well, let me give you an example of one of the allegations, right?
Yeah.
And you got to remember, well, anyway, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
19 years ago, he impersonated an Indian accent in front of a staff member who was Indian.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think he should be tarred and feathered.
I don't know if you're serious or not.
He's obviously deeply racist and dangerous man to society.
Yes.
I mean, I just don't know what to do about this.
That's a terrible Indian accent, Tony.
It's a terrible one. Yeah.
If you could do an Indian accent, you could be racist, but you can't even do the accent.
I can't even do it. Yeah.
Rubbish attempt at racism.
Yeah, he Kirsty Allsop on location. Fuck, it's fucking insanity. What within 1 hour of meeting Greg Wallace, he told me of a sex act that he and his partner at the time enjoyed every morning.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right. But tell me what's going on for you in reporting this. How is this occurring to you? What's activating?
How the fuck is this news? That's what's going on in my head.
Well, it is. I mean, get over it.
Sorry to swear, but I get to a point like, just why is this in the news? Like,
well, that's a very good question.
I don't know. Sack him, but like if it was outside of what he.
Well, he hasn't been convicted yet, has he? Of anything. This is one of those massive plumes of outrage that's going on at the moment, and I think there is something interesting within it because I felt a little bit I don't know, overshadowed by this or affected by it. And I don't mean in a boo-hoo, poor me victim sort of way. I mean, my morning show is based on quite a lot of sexual innuendo and that kind of 70s light entertainment vibe, which I think Greg Wallace would enjoy, and is because somebody said, oh yeah, he's like, it's all that awful stuff from the past of, you know, men being sexual and provocative and using innuendo like Sid
Yeah.
James, and I'm thinking,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah. Oh, men, you know.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah. The Greg Wallace
Unbelievable.
stuff is crap. It's just bullying and nitpicking. But I get all of that, but what can we do about it? Because this is another kind of culture war lightning rod, to use the right lingo. What's to be done about it? There are useful conversations to be had as a result of this, I would say. I don't think you can just
they are accused. But some of the things, like now he's in trouble for saying they're middle class women of a certain age. Well, they are middle class women of a certain age.
Yeah, but he meant that in a kind of pejorative sense, didn't he?
Well, what's he supposed to do? Is he supposed to sit? Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? He's not allowed to defend himself.
No, he did defend himself. He did defend himself, and I think he got advice to say, "Stop defending yourself because your defense isn't going."
Yeah, but that's got to stop. That's got to stop.
That's my question then. How can this be managed such that we can all learn something from it without this awful situation of, you know, it's not working, is it? What's happening with him? And I'm not defending his behavior. I'm saying that societally, this phenomenon and this approach that we generally see happening, that is just like, well, you know, it's just X, Y, or Z, is not sorting it. It's not working.
My mum used to smoke in the car when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, she's dead now, but you know, if not, we should definitely
at that, by the way.
we should definitely go after her for that, because she was a monster.
Yeah.
You know, I was a kid and she was smoking in the car when I was in the car, for example, etc.
Yeah.
Who cares? I mean, this is my problem. I get why it's interesting to you, but I saw the story today and I didn't even give it any more thought, really, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm very interested in the
he made staff feel uncomfortable by talking about his sex life. Did they say anything?
They didn't at the time, and
well, then that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So there's nothing, because they didn't say anything at the time. They can't say anything about it now.
Well, they can. They
are. Right? They are. That is what's happening. So that is what's happening. They are saying something about it which they didn't feel possibly comfortable about now, except being in this kind of reverse bullying situation, right? So the spotlight is on Greg, isn't it? And so, if you like, to use his phrase, the women of a certain class and age are now piling in on him and giving him a taste of his own medicine, if you like.
One woman said he made constant lesbian jokes. I want to know the jokes, because I like
to hear the material.
I know. I think they're funny.
Yes.
Now, I like lesbians as well, and I don't mean that in any lewd way. I mean, I couldn't care less.
Right.
You know, so there's plenty of jokes about straight people. I've always said people. There's always this weird double standard, right? Like I've always said, The Simpsons. Take The Simpsons. I know this is going to be a bit off-piste, but bear with me. You know, The Simpsons. They took that Abu, the shopkeeper, out because it was offensive. Well, take Homer Simpson out because he offends me. He's a white middle class guy. They're obviously making fun of me.
This is what I'm talking about, Tony.
Family Guy, they're making fun of me.
But this isn't going anywhere, is it? You saying that is not giving us the...
Well, just ignore them. This is what I would do. If she came up to me, if this woman came up to me, oh, could you believe that Greg Wallace made a lesbian joke? I would say to her, shut the fuck up. I don't care. I don't care. Were you offended? I don't care. Be offended. Yes. You were offended. Be offended.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Is there nothing?
You were offended, and you know, that's it.
Right. And is there
nothing happened? Nothing happened. Your legs didn't fall off. You know, you didn't get migraines. Just that's it. You were offended. Okay. That's it.
And that is it for you. That's just...
that's it.
Okay. There's nothing of any further interest to you in why people are
nothing
offended.
Happens. Nothing happens, Carl. Nothing happens. When you get offended, nothing happens.
No, I understand that. I understand that, but it doesn't contribute to functional society, does it?
Well, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it now, though, could he? He couldn't do it now, though. If you made those kind of jokes in a modern workplace, you know, you'd get reported to HR and you'd be gone, wouldn't you? So the solution
you'd have that. The HR liked my joke so much they asked me to come and tell it again.
You know what I'm saying, though? This is how long ago? 19 years or something. I don't know. Yeah,
I really want to play for you Tamaka Tan's joke that I had loaded up for the morning show, where he makes a really off joke and a woman pulls him.
I'm with Ricky Joe. The only thing I would say is you know, he shouldn't have been saying this in the workplace, but you know, did he know? Or like, what if he says, what about this? What about if he says, oh, I didn't actually realize that I was being offensive.
Because no one said anything.
I'm sorry. What about that?
Well, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, of course. But that, you know, that all of I'm not.
But they want blood. They want blood, don't they?
But do they? So that's your sense.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Why is it in the news? That's my question. Why is it in the news?
It's such a good question, though, isn't it? It is a great question. Why? It's
like, I want to know what's going on in South Korea. I want to know what's going on. There's so many other things that are more interesting than this guy telling some lesbian jokes 20 years ago. And women of a certain age getting all
right.
So
if we de-escalate it off the front page and put it where it belongs on page 10, it shouldn't be in the news at all. It shouldn't. There's no place for this in the news. I can't believe if they want to talk about it, where should they talk about it? I don't know. Over brunch. Because even then I would say, why are you talking about this? Just shut up. It's just so uninteresting and like so I don't know what the word is. It's like, oh, you know, it's like, how bored are you? What do we need? We need like a dragon to come down off a mountain and start burning people or something. How bored are you? There's a solution to this. Oh my God, 19 years ago someone made a joke about lesbians. Let's quickly run to the news and, you know, ruin this guy's career or whatever's happening. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I hate this stuff. Yeah, and you're right, Fleeta. That is a problem. If he says sorry, they'll be like, "Oh, he didn't mean it." We don't know that. We don't know that. You see, that's. I'm not exactly sure what I'm trying to say, but I what I do know is, it's not satisfactory to me to just retort with a put down of these people. And look, well, I can tell you, and I'm not just saying this. I've never done that. I don't like men who do that, and I never have, even when I was young. Even when I was young, I didn't like the men who make those leery jokes at the women. And same here. I was very uncomfortable. I've always hated it. You know, I think I've become that guy in a way as well now. Which you know, this whole thing has caused me to have a look at. I think it's quite useful from that perspective, isn't it? As a little check and balance. Yeah. You know, I know what you mean, but what I'm saying is, like, I just don't think. I think it's a mountain out of a molehill. I agree. Yeah. And what I find fascinating, I suppose, to come to the essence of this, before we come to your interesting moment of the week, Tony, is what is so fascinating to me about it. Quick, is Tony shuffles his post-it notes. We do this every week. Come on. What's absolutely fascinating is that people are being offended by other people being offended. Do you not find that fascinating? I really do. Yeah, because it's this is a culture war thing, isn't it? Yes. Like probably the right wing should be on Greg Wallace's side, right? Yes. And probably what was that? I can't remember. Focus. Have I broken you? I've broken you. Focus. Yeah. Right.
probably it's probably going to be a right-wing position to because someone like Ricky Gervais would be like, oh, they can't take a joke. But I would say what's different, what I would say to Ricky in this circumstance is they haven't paid for tickets, are they? They're kind of a captive audience. So I do get it. I get why they might have felt uncomfortable.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is you've got like, do you know what it's like I was saying last week? I promise you again, I'm coming from a place of love for those middle-class women of a certain age.
Well, when you say that they should stop their nonsense,
it's just stop.
Yeah, but are you saying
Yeah, but you know what it's like that joke
for yours?
I don't care. I'm telling you, I don't know much about this story. I've literally just filled myself in then because I saw the story earlier in the day, and I'm telling you, Carl, I didn't read it. I didn't invest any time in it because I knew it was just going to be nonsense.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, do you remember that joke we looked at the other week with that comedian? She said,
"Is this it?"
She was out at dinner with her husband. You remember that? And they had an argument with the.
Oh yeah. Dave never thought about it again. Yes, yeah.
Just never thought about it again. Yes. Well, so what I'm saying is, I'm kind of coming from a place of love.
Yes.
When I want to say to them, just stop thinking about it. Just move on.
Okay, and I accept that. But then if they don't experience it as love, what then?
Well, that's their problem.
Oh, okay, all right. But
I'm happy.
Do you? Okay.
It doesn't make any difference to me if they want to dwell on it and let it.
Do you share my fascination though with people who are offended by their offense? Because I guess that's what I'm really getting at here. I think that's what's so wonderful.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because the old guys who felt got at by this, are saying a similar thing to you. I'm not lumping you in with them, but that is a response, isn't it, of the doubling down, if you like, of men who feel associated with Greg Wallace, and I do a little bit. And I know some of the older guys who like these sorts of making these sorts of comments, who might find it funny, are not. They might say, "Oh, they should just get over it," but they're not getting over it, are they? They're not getting over it.
Okay. When I say they should get over it, I don't mean for the benefit of George Wallace.
Say that again. You don't.
I'm not saying that for the benefit
to defend him. You're not trying to defend him. Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend him.
You okay?
I think the guy's an asshole. I think it is inappropriate in the workplace. And I've thought that since the first day I went to work. I think it is inappropriate to make those sort of jokes, and I think you should try and be aware of who you're speaking to. Of course, those things are inappropriate at work. And I think they're generally inappropriate in public unless you know people and you know that they're into it or whatever.
And sometimes, sometimes you can make a mistake, can't you? For which you can apologize and hopefully move on.
Well, what I think is it's not that big a deal, and that they should.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
I think an apology should be enough anyway. And, that's it. That's it. Where I think it shouldn't be is in the news. But anyway, I've been trying to do some changes to my diet.
Really? Tell me about it. All right.
Well, for example, I was thinking about trying.
Can you tell me this in a minute? Because I've got a clip to play you. Sorry to interrupt, but this is really important, connected to what we're talking about, and I think you might appreciate it. And then we'll finish with Tony. Did anything else interesting happen to you this week? So it's taken a little while to process this. So just bear with. Thank you to Jackie, to T Duck, to Fleedom mainly. I think Bullbag got upset with us and left earlier on. So really? Probably not here. So here we go. Here's my I would like to call him a friend. He's been on the Good Morning Portugal show. I think he's a very fine comedian. I think comedians have a lot to offer the society at the moment. It's like the politicians aren't figuring. No. This is the clip I'm about to play.
Okay.
Well, you took me very literally there. But I think he's doing a great job culturally as a comedian with this clip. And then we'll come back to anything else interesting happened to you this week.
Have you guys ever been bullied by someone so badly that you hated everyone with his name? That's why I hate guys named Dad. A lot of my people are confused by my parents' relationship. They're like, well, you got a Muslim dad and a Jewish mom. And I'm like, yes, sir. They're like, how did a Muslim man convince a Jewish woman to fall in love with him? I go, my dad was no regular Muslim man. My dad was in an Arab rock band. They traveled all around the Middle East throwing rocks at women. Don't get weird, don't get weird, don't get weird. It's a comedy show, it's a comedy show.
Terrible.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said that's terrible.
Thank you, I appreciate it. That's what I was going for, that's what I was going for. Because here's the thing, I'm not doing it to be terrible, right? Like sometimes when I see a dog that obeys too much, it makes me sad. And sometimes when I see a cat that bites its owner, it makes me happy. Because it means the cat has retained its wildness. And that's what I love about Berlin. Berlin has retained its wildness. Sure, there's an Amazon here, but we tag the shit out of it. And we vandalize it. Berlin is a cat. And I'm not up here to offend you. I'm just here to remind you that you're still wild too. You can say some terrible things every once in a while. As long as your energy is friendly, it's no big deal. Right? Okay. No big deal.
Doesn't he nail it there? Is your
yeah.
energy friendly? Isn't that a key thing? I thought that was so wonderful. Anyway, Tony, anything else happened to you that was interesting this week?
No, I was just saying I was thinking about trying the all almond diet.
The all almond diet, Tony.
Yeah, so that would be like almonds for breakfast, almonds for
Almond milk?
lunch,
Almond milk.
almond
Yeah.
milk.
Mark
almond-
Almond on Spotify.
Mark Almond on Spotify, almond for dinner. But in the end, I thought that'd be just nuts.
Munson and the Geeza. Munson and the Geeza. Reporting from the scene. Munson and the Geeza. News in every ride.